Okay, I'm back with another sheet to calculate the results of a Stableford match. This I put together at the request of a subscriber, Tater. There's a thread under the quota game, the individual quota game spreadsheet, where he was uh, interested in this and another game. So I was able to put this together fairly quickly because it was similar to quota, and I'm working on his other request, but that's a bit down the road. So anyway, I want to keep this short as possible. It's the same, basic sheet format as I presented before, so shouldn't be too hard to work your way through this on your own. But this will give you a few tips and tricks that you might be interested in. So first of all, let's go over to the last tab here, which is just a description of a Stableford tournament. Um, you get points based on bogey, par, birdie, so forth, and I have this set up for a number of different variations, so you can uh, it calculates both net and gross and net totals. So with and without handicaps, that means, and it also can be used for individual or teams. The teams can be anywhere from 2 to 4 players. So it works fine for any one of those scenarios. All right, just skipping back to the course setup tab. I'm not going to spend any time on this. This is the same course setup layout as I've already described in the first two sheets, which were the individual quota and the individual skins game. So if you want um, some instruction on this tab, just go back to one of those two sheets, and in the beginning of the video, I go through these, so I'm not going to belabor it again here. Okay, so let's go to the scorecard. This is where you enter the player information. You enter a player's name in this column. You enter their handicap index in this column. The T box you can change to a different one for any individual player. Again, in the course setup tab, this will default to the one that you set as the default when you open up the sheet. And in column E, the course handicap index is calculated based on the course slope and rating and the T box you set here. So then you just enter the scores for each hole. Um, uh, so similar, you'll see an extra column here, and I'll show you why in each box there's a little extra column. I'll show you what that's for in a second. So you enter their scores, their gross scores, and again, you can just, these are grouped by teams. If it's just an individual playing, you just put in one player per group. So you just put in one player here, and so forth on down the line. If there's multiple players, let's say you have teams of 2, you just enter 2 in each group, or 3 or 4, depending on how many players on each team. Now, column A, I set a little filter here so that, for instance, if you're just using this for individual players, you filter on this column, just select 1, and that'll consolidate the view so that you don't have to see, it's easier to scroll through and see information for just one player. Now, if it's teams of 2, you'd select both 1 and 2, and you'd see the 2 players, and so forth and so on. So that's just, it doesn't matter if it makes no difference in the calculations. It just gives you a different view perspective to consolidate it, so it's easier to work with and easier to view. But if you entered 4 players and selected a filter of 1, the calculations would still be for all 4 players, if that makes sense. Okay, so we have, it calculates, this top set will calculate the gross scores, and then you have the net scores which show up down below, and then you have the gross and the net Stableford points. So I'll show you an example of one that's filled out in a second here. But let me skip to the winnings tabs, the results tabs. So here's where, again, this is similar to the other sheets where you set the prize money and how much you want for each place, and then the winners show up over here with how much they won. So this is, I've got 2 tabs here, one for gross and then one for net winners. So again, you split the money the way you want to. Now, just let me take you to a sheet that's filled out already, so you see how it looks with the scores entered. So I didn't put names in here. I'm just putting some brief designations for players. So player AA has a 9.7 handicap index, which calculates out to a course index of 11 as per the course I have set up here. So here's his scores, his or her scores, and I've got this set to randomly generate numbers, so every time we change the sheet, it's going to recalculate here all of these numbers. So here's his scores, and the red numbers are the quota point, or the Stableford points that this player receives. So you can see at the end here his total score, and this is just his gross score. And then down below is his net score and the Stableford points that this player receives for their net score. And then here's the total of the scores for all 4 players. So for gross, this group of players got 9 points on the first hole and 12 points on the second hole, etc. down the line. So they end up with 68 and 93 gross and net points respectively. And over in this column is where they rank with all the other players at, from what you've entered. So they're in 17th place for gross and 16th place for net. Now, I'm going to show you if I do a recalculation on this, because I put in some test data. These are all random, as you can see up here. These are random score entries. So to update them all, I just hit F9. Sorry. So to recalculate, to update the numbers, I just hit F9 or function F9. You can see that the numbers will change here. So looking over quickly at the rank tab, you can see because the numbers are changing, that this group is changing their position based on the calculations on these numbers. So if we go to the tabs down below, the gross and win tabs, you can see that this groups of players, PP, QQ, RR, and SS gross, are in first place and they win $140. Now, and this is true with any of these sheets. So if there's a tie here for 6th place, for instance. So that means that 6th and 7th money goes to the 6th place winners. So they get $30 each, and then we skip over 7th because 7th is taken up here, and the 8th place winner would be next if there was an 8th place payout. So just so I'm going to update those scores again. You'll see this change. See, so now there's two players that want tied for third, so they get third and fourth place money and split that, and then it goes to fifth and sixth and seventh. All right, so same thing for net, same calculation. So I think that's really about it. Again, this win sheet or total one sheet sheets are very similar to the others. So you fill in how much money is in the total prize purse for, in this case, net, and then how much is what percentage is allocated to first place, second place, third place, and fourth place. All the way through 10th place. And if you put 0 in there, then there's no money payout for those places. Now, just a note, I don't know if I mentioned this in any of the other sheets, but you can print this, and I would suggest printing it into a PDF or something, and then distribute it out to all the players so that they have a copy of the wins, the winning. The total one sheets. So that was something I might not have mentioned in the other sheets. All right, that's really it. I hope that this is useful to you, and if you want a copy of this, please respond under this video, and I will send you a link to a copy of this sheet. Okay, thank you. Have a good day.